From ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 in Southern California. This is BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgensen.
Now to BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio. I am your host, Tyler Jorgensen, and today we have Vinnie Brown, but you might know him from Naughty by Nature, and it may not be the 90s anymore, but these guys are still relevant. They're still pumping out new stuff, and one of the biggest things they're doing now is embracing the world of VR and e-commerce. And so I'm really excited to be talking with you, Vin. Welcome out to the show.
All right. How you doing, big bro? Nice to be on the show, you know?
Yeah, man. Excited to have you here. I think that we need to first start because you're a little bit of a unique guest in that most people don't know you as an e-commerce guy or as a VR guy, right? So tell us a little bit about, give us the really quick snip of Naughty by Nature, how you got involved in the group, and your guys' journey.
Right. So, Naughty by Nature, we're from East Orange, New Jersey. We assembled in high school at first, did the talent show thing and decided to pursue our music, signed the first Anxious deal under a group called The New Style, eventually got away from there and we signed to Queen Latifah's management company, Flavor Unit Management. So we signed to them in 1990, then signed to Tommy Boy Records, which she was on. In 91, we released OPP, and then everything took off from there. But, how we got into the merchandise is that in the early 90s when we blew up, we always had our own merchandise from the 80s when we were the New Style. And then when we signed to Tommy Boy with their art department, Monica Lynch and a guy, Mark Weinberg, came up with the Naughty by Nature logo and that. And then our first pair of boxer shorts and the OPP t-shirt and stickers. So we were like, wow, we just kind of took it from there, trademarked everything, and we were rolling. We were actually selling a lot of merchandise from the street corner. Then we got raided by the cops, so we had to legitimize it. And 93, 94, we opened up our first retail store. No, 94 we did. We opened up a full retail store called Naughty Gear, 106 Halsey Street, downtown Newark. And the funny thing about that is back then, the internet was just coming along. I remember the fastest modem was 28.8 kilobits per second,
right.
Then it went to 56K and then T1 and all of that stuff. So we actually had a Naughty by Nature website back then in 94, 95, and we had a Naughty Gear website for the store. But back then, all you could do is print out the order form, check off what you want, and look on the website to see what we had. So it was snail mail order, and then we would receive it at the store, process the order, and ship back out. So that was our first introduction to primitive e-com.
Yeah, man, I love that. That was like when basically the website was just a digital version of your catalog, right?
Right.
In
Exactly.
early days.
Exactly.
So let's, there are probably a million stories we could go through. And here on the show, we want to interweave the entrepreneurial journey with the personal journey. So, and I think that Naughty as a production, as a music group, right, and your journey into learning and understanding merch, they're probably really closely connected, right? They went hand in hand, like producing shows and then producing boxers to sell merch. Early on in your career, as you guys got started, as you built that momentum, what was the first major obstacle that you guys faced, and then how'd you overcome it?
Well, it was manufacturing, manufacturing when it came to producing the goods ourselves, because when we opened the store, we weren't even really privy to the whole China connection and having in-house designers and that whole thing. So really, we were producing goods with a local screen printing shop. So it was all basically printing and embroidering and putting applications on blanks, and we realized really quick that interrupting that screen printer's business, because we had a lot of money back then to just dump, on goods, and we totally upset their normal business. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it was a problem with him turning around goods to fulfill the store.
Right.
So basically inventory was the biggest challenge. And to a point, it is still today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you guys again, early 90s, I don't think there's anybody that was alive during that time that doesn't know OPP, right? And so You start selling merch, you start selling things. How did you handle personally the shift from being like, just getting out there on the hustle into like, okay, we're starting to make it. Things are coming at us.
Right. Well, I always refer to Will Smith's movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, because we were street kids. Of course, we were doing the street hustling thing. And then our first group was the New Style, and we signed to the old Sugar Hill Records. So we really thought we would break as the New Style. And lo and behold, that failed. So we had to re-up, change the name, rebrand. But this time we were, under Queen Latifah. So we had a better shot. And then once we came out the box, with OPP, that was our first official single, and just blew. We were like, wow, this feels good. It's just a monkey off our back. But our thing was like, you know what? We're competitive by nature. So our thing is to keep this thing going, keep the music going, and keep that competitive edge amongst our peers.
I love that. And so it wasn't enough that you had one big hit, right? It was like you were going to keep innovating, keep growing, keep looking for what's next.
Oh yeah, definitely. And again, with the likes of Queen Latifah, Flavor Unit Management, there were other artists on the roster. We were signed to Tommy Boy Records, so their roster was Queen Latifah, Coolio, De La Soul. Digital Underground, rest in peace, Shock G. So it was a full roster of artists on the label and management. So we had to, make sure to hold our spot and hold ourselves down, earn our keep. So right. Yeah, it was urgent. We kept it going.
Yeah, you don't want to get put in the wrong part of the show lineup, right?
Exactly. Or saying, look, you got to wait 2 years for your next album to drop.
Absolutely.
We have more important releases. No, you don't want to be in that category.
Yeah, that's for sure. Man, so you guys, you through the 90s, you guys are growing, you're testing, you're trying all this stuff, but we're coming up on 30 years. What are you guys doing to celebrate Naughty by Nature's 30th anniversary?
Oh, yeah, man. We're doing a big recap. So first and foremost, we're filming a 30th anniversary documentary. We're in the process of doing that now. We have Marcus Rayboy, who shot our first 2 videos, OPP and Everything's Gonna Be All Right. He's also the guy who just directed Will Smith's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 30th anniversary, which released last year. So we have Marcus going. We're going to own that print. And then we're on the verge of doing VH1 Behind the Music. So we're talking to Viacom about that right now. We'll do a 30th anniversary album. We're looking to drop everything in September during the week of the VMAs, and then announce, the rest of our touring for 2022 and just get back at it, post-COVID.
Love it. Yeah, I love that. Man, you guys have a lot going on. You got a lot building. So one of the things we kind of talked about a little bit the other day was how much is happening in the world of VR. And if you had asked me 5 years ago, when VR was starting to take off, who I thought would be one of the first groups to really be active in the VR world, I would not have said Naughty by Nature. But here you guys are, you're building Little Town Naughty, right? And you're building an alt space VR on Oculus Quest. Like, what made you think, hey, Naughty needs to be involved in VR? Well,
I think I've always just been involved in the technology part, using it as a tool for fan engagement and to further monetize what we do. So even when we had the store in '94, I had a website back then. The average website was about $8,000 to $10,000. So I always respected the technology. And then going into social media, and then when people were actually spending money over the web with a credit card, I was always interested in that. And then it went on to apps and stuff like that. So I've always been into it. And now it's like with the VR world, oh my goodness, this is like something I already see. Like every business should have a VR space. You have a personal space where now you could build your dream office space. You could build your dream home. You could build your dream, whatever you have, and then invite everyone you're doing business with into that space. So I'm looking at like what I'm building out. Well, we're really building out a whole island. So to me, it's going to be like Naughty Disneyland, and there'll be subscribers there, and we'll have so many activities, but we will definitely have office spaces in there where I'll test to see where people are in business and say, look, if I'm pitching a licensing deal or someone's pitching me, I'm like, well, you know what? Grab your VR headset and meet me in my office.
That's
And
right.
then in that virtual space we can conduct, you're able to pull up documents, you're able to, design things and collaborate in real time. So to me, this stuff is so exciting. And for us being 30-year vets and, having the ability to have ticketed events there and private screenings and listening sessions. I mean, it goes on and on and on. It's like that VR space is like having a website, all social media, office space, all in one. And it's definitely the future. I know I'm in on it.
I love the idea of like, okay, you're having a live ticketed event, and then you can have backstage passes, and it's not super complicated. It's like, hey, these people with these usernames they're the only ones that can access this room, right? There's no security guards. There's no like people sneaking backstage, right? But that's really neat. I didn't even think about that idea of having people come in for business meetings, because you can interact you can act differently in VR than you can just over the phone or with Zoom. You see that third dimension, the ability to kind of visualize things together. Pretty cool stuff, man. How did you guys first get into licensing, and anything that you learned there that you can share with other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, licensing, way back when we began, there was a big company called Winterland. So they were like the Bravados or, the Live Nations of today. And, they handled all the merchandise for the big tours and all of the big pop or rock bands. So they were the go-to place. But what I realized is, even a few years ago, about 4 years ago, we had a licensing deal with Bravado, which is owned by Universal Records. The reality is depending on how big your brand is or how much attention you command, you can get lost in the sauce. So, it's cool to have those relationships and to have those licensing deals. But what I've found is that, there's nothing like running the business yourself. And with all the, tools we have right now, digital tools, you can always carve out your direct-to-fan business. So I find that that's the best way for fan engagement. That's the best way to even extract like stories from your fans and just being hands-on and getting the temperature of what your fans like, the rating what you sell. Your ads, you can see the immediate results from the targeted ads you're running. You can get all of that immediate feedback. But if you just give it to a major company and say, give me an advance and I'll just take the royalty, you're missing out on all the data. You're missing out on the long-term play, and you're missing out on just stabilizing your business in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that to me is the most obvious is the ability to stay engaged with the customer or with the fan, right? So if a fan goes and says, I'm going to buy the, are you down with OPP shirt? And they go to your site and they buy it, you have that customer information. Next time you have a concert, next time you have something going on, next time you have another shirt drop, you can email them or you can reach out to them and say, hey, you bought this shirt, you're probably going to like this. But if you just license it off to Target, right? Target's the one selling it. You don't have any of that information. So the ability for like you said, to carve out your direct to fans, vertical, the ability to maintain that relationship, I think, is one of the biggest things that today's economy is allowing creators and producers and artists to be able to do is stay connected one-to-one, or, feels like one-to-one with the
Well, it definitely is one-to-one because, even when customers have a discrepancy, I get all the emails, but my team answers them. But some of the emails I read, and if someone's like really upset for no reason in our control, it's like, hey, UPS or the post office screwed up your package, I'll chime in. And then when they see the thread and they're like, oh my God, this is Vin, it just totally changes their day. And I'm able to explain it. And they're like, yo, it totally, eases them. And they're like, man, well, I'm sorry for coming at y'all like that, but I can't wait to buy more. I love the product, know? So that kind of engagement is super priceless.
Yeah. And staying human, right? Like you were able to reconnect as a human, get back involved and say, this isn't just some random customer service team. Like, we're here. How can we help? Let's fix this.
Right.
What's something that you guys, I mean, you still sell like Naughty Beach shorts, but like, what's one of your top items that you guys sell through ecom?
Oh man, the hoodie, the classic Naughty by Nature hoodie. That's what everyone loves. And last fall and winter, we did the hoodie bundle. So we had a hoodie bundle with a hoodie, t-shirt, and baseball cap combined. They love that. That's a great, great price point for a great package, and they love that. Love it, love it.
I love that. And so you guys, I mean, it's great. You guys are still moving. You guys are outperforming a lot of other e-com stores out there. I know you guys have big goals as well. I'm sure the 30th anniversary and everything you guys are working on is probably going to help you hit those goals. What are some challenges that you guys have faced through kind of as you've been growing the e-commerce side of things and trying to figure out like new products and stuff like that? Like what have you learned through that space?
Well, I think, creativity is free. So as long as you have the resources, financial resources, you can get with different design houses, people who source. I just think that in the e-com business, you really need your business and business credit health intact. So as long as you have a decent business credit line, you got hire the appropriate people, you could do the proper sourcing, you could meet your proper minimums, and then you'll have better margins. So that's the biggest challenge, and that's what we're sorting out now as we scale our business.
I love that. Yeah, so huge opportunity there. And I think that's great. I think, you mentioned early on, you guys started selling, started hustling, you got raided by the police, right? Businesses, a lot of times people don't start at all because they're worried about doing it perfect. I'm a big believer that you got to ready, fire, aim, right? You got to have some things lined up, but not be perfect. You just got to get to market and figure it out as you go. So you guys have all the right ducks in the row. Everything's in place. You're ready for scaling. You got big opportunities coming for Naughty by Nature 30th anniversary. Man, big stuff's happening. When you look back on the journey, and somebody else is just getting started and, they say, hey, I want to get started in apparel, or how about even going back further, say, I want to get started in music. What do you tell them?
Well, with apparel, I say, you know what? You have to be passionate about it. And first of all, with anything, if you're doing it strictly for a cash grab, then a lot of times you're going to fail because all you're seeing is money. You have to say, what's the purpose of this? How am I going to serve people? How am I going to make people feel good or feel happy? So
Yep.
If it's apparel and I'm able to give them a unique product or a product that they appreciate and quality product, and it's going to be their favorite t-shirt. I don't care if it's a simple t-shirt, but if the cotton is soft and if the spec is right, and if, when you're going in your laundry, everyone grabs that most comfortable feeling t-shirt, So if you're going to have product like that, that should be your aim or your goal. And it's the same thing for music. It's like, if you want to create music just to run out here and chase the latest fad, and especially in rap music now, where it's really dangerous out here, if you're not doing it to kind of change the tone of what's going on out here, you're just running into a cash grab and it's more of the same and it's not as unique. So, when we were coming up, we prided ourselves on just being unique. Like I just mentioned, Digital Underground, Coolio, De La Soul, Queen Latifah, Naughty by Nature, all five of us was on the same record label, but very different brands, very different music styles. So, you have to distinguish yourself in that manner. And, with the tools of today and so much music out there, music is really a lost leader, because with streams and trying to make money off of this, times the majors out there, even with licensing your music and the majors in there, just having first dibs, it's really a difficult business in this time and age. So you have to use music as a loss leader and then build product around it, build experiences, build fan engagement around it to further monetize the music.
That's interesting. I've never heard it as that it's a loss leader, but it really is. In many ways, it's that this is how we're going to reach people, but then what's the next step, right? So thinking about it with the long game. thinking about the long play in mind. Now you've been with the group, like you said, it's coming on 30 years. And throughout that time, you guys have been doing music, but you've also been doing other business things. Tell us about the challenges of having partners and like how maybe some ups and downs of that and what you guys have learned, how to make it successful.
Right. So that is the thing, because when we first came out, we were all, even keel. So we didn't even discover our other talents. It was just, hey, it's all about the group and we're putting out
you're
this
kids.
Right. And that's going to be our thing. But lo and behold, once we released the music, Tretch jumped out as an actor, especially being under Queen Latifah's wing. He jumped out as an actor. KG jumped out as a producer. So he began producing other acts. Tretch began acting more. And I've always been more of a community-based guy working with local politics. I got into, the merchandising and the brand development of the brand. So after a while, once those energies start splitting, it takes away from the core business. So now you have movie companies pulling Tretch away. The record label is saying, hey, this is my initial investment. And now I got to wait 3 years to get another album because for one, the guys are touring. For two, right. Tretch is acting. For three, KG is producing other groups. And it's like, I made the kill, but the vultures are picking off of it. So that definitely caused, internal drama, internal beef. And we had to work our way through it. And at the end of the day, one of the biggest elements is the brand itself. So through years of fighting, through years of breaking up, screw you, I don't need you, we're going to stay home, you're literally leaving millions of dollars on the table. And when you're looking to, branch off and do your own thing, there's no better platform to expose that than the core platform. So those are the things we learned along the way.
Yeah. And so isn't it amazing how like a partnership through ego and pride, like leave millions of dollars on the table, scrapping over a couple $100, right? Or a couple other, right? It's like, but this past deal a year ago wasn't fair. Well, let's worry about this big one that's out in front of us, right? And so how have you guys, as you've matured and gotten older, like how have you shifted your focus into the long-term play?
Well, for one, it's about getting our finances in order, you know what I mean? Making sure your financial health is in order, because a lot of times when you have those discrepancies, it's always one person in the group who's not as financially sound as the others. They're not as witty as the others, and they're just reckless spenders. You know what I'm saying? So what you have to do is think as a collective and say, look, no matter what, if 2/3 or 1/3 of the group has their thing together, then it's in the total group's best interest to make sure you share this information with your partners, because the more stable the team is, the longer, or the more stable the general business is, So having that going on. And then one of the things I've learned is that at the end of the day, you never know as what business partner may flip. You never know. Hey, they could just die. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. So you need to have
you got to be ready for it.
That's right. So you need to have your life, your finances in order. So win, lose, or draw, CYA. You have to cover your ass.
That makes a ton of sense. And I think it's the kind of thing that we all hope people that come behind us learn faster than we did, right? Like learn from our mistakes, do it right the first time. Don't wait to, the third or fourth big mistake to get it figured out. You guys have laid down major hits. You've got an amazing website at naughtybynaturesstore.com where people can buy your merch. You've got your 30th anniversary. You got the big VR, Little Town Naughty, and everything happening there. I know you're doing stuff in the fintech and fin education world, which I think is really cool. What are some other things that you just think people really need to know about what Vin Brown is doing here in 2021?
Well, for me, man, it's just about, just being of service to others. I've always been known as a hands-on community guy, so even like I'm born and raised in my hometown of East Orange, New Jersey. So we've always been around here. And in 92, when we bought our first homes, I moved to West Orange, which literally I could walk town to town. So about 6 years ago, I chose to move back to my hometown because I was working with the local mayor who was running. So now that he ran, the past 2 mayors, I've been on the transition team for recreation and cultural affairs. So being involved in the parks, and recreation system here. So my thing is, like, what I want people to know is that no matter how humble or successful, you become, how humble your beginnings or successful you become, everybody should at least come back home and participate in local politics, participate in your local school district, just give back to the kids and let them feel and see and touch a success story. You know what I mean? And it's really empowering because Whitney Houston, Dionne Warwick, John Amos, all of these people, Queen Latifah, are from our hometown of East Orange, and just being accessible to the community and to us as growing up, it was really inspiring. So for the most part, that's what I feel. It's just about that community feel. And if you're able to sustain the community and inspire others, hopefully they'll sustain themselves and you'll have a far less angry people right in the world,
Well, I absolutely love what you're doing with the group. I love what you're doing with your brand. I love that you're staying involved in the community. What's one major item on Vin Brown's personal bucket list that you're going to accomplish in the next 12 months?
12 months? Wow. Well, I have to go back into the housing market. So I'm actually torn between the VR mansion I'm building and then cloning it in real life. So I have like Elvis Presley's Graceland or Michael Jackson Neverland Ranch. So I want to do almost like the NFT thing. The virtual world is the NFT stuff. And then, the physical product is there as well. So with this NFT stuff, I plan on bouncing them both around, So I'm really waiting for the housing market to correct. And then here in Jersey, I want to work with the governor and local, authorities to make sure I'll have the passes and to do what I need to do zoning wise, so I won't have problems. And then from there, I'm opening up Naughty Land, man, like the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah. Awesome. I love the vision. Go to naughtybynaturesstore.com. Check out what Vin's doing there. For all my biz ninjas, wherever you're listening, it's your turn to go out and do something.
Thank you for listening to Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio with Tyler Jorgensen. Please make sure to subscribe so you're first to hear new interviews and episodes. If you found this podcast to be valuable, please share it with a friend. Don't forget to visit our online dojo at bizninja.com to claim your reward for listening to the show.